Welcome to the program. I'm Okpayemi Owosheni. We start off with business news. The president of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, has said that in the next 2 years, the company will be exporting almost 16,000 tons of fertilizer, which will amount to about $7 million daily revenue to the Nigerian government. Dangote announced this when he paid a courtesy visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Port Authority in Marina, Lagos. He added that with the exportation of fertilizer, the company would be the major supplier of foreign exchange earnings in Nigeria. Africa's richest man also mentioned that in a few weeks' time, the company would commence the exportation of coal. He highlighted the need to work with the NPA on the development of the marine and blue economy sector, with plans to ensure the expansion of Nigeria's export operations, emphasizing that as the biggest customer of the NPA, it is important that the interaction between NPA and DIL is sustained. And consistent with Section 89, subsection 3D of the Nigerian Communications Act of 2003, the Nigerian Communications Commission has reported a rise in Nigeria's internet penetration to 48.15% in April 2025. Industry statistics from the NCC said the rise was from 47.73% recorded in March 2025. Now, this development comes as the country's telecommunications industry struggles with multiple complex business environment. Nigeria has missed its internet penetration target for 2025. We'll take a short break now and be back with company news. Welcome back. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has engaged with stakeholders in Nigeria's oil and gas industry as it prepares to launch its electronic invoicing system on July 25, 2025. The event provided a platform for the FIRS to sensitize the stakeholders, exposing them to the features and benefits of the system. The FIRS said the e-invoicing system is a reporting tool meant to streamline tax processes, enhance compliance with fiscal regulations, help businesses with financial insight and capital management, and also expand their global reach by facilitating transactions with firms outside Nigeria. We'll take a break here, but when Money Matters return, we'll be discussing the journey so far under Tinubu's administration. I'll bring you more details after this break. Welcome back. Thursday, May 29th marks 2 years since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, in that time, we've seen bold economic reforms from the removal of fuel subsidy and forex unification to efforts aimed at boosting revenue, curbing inflation and attracting investments into the country. But the big question remains, as the economy truly improved under this administration, what's the real impact of these reforms on the everyday Nigerian? Nigerians have expressed mixed reactions about the journey so far. While some acknowledge the government's bold step, others say the rising cost of living has made daily survival a struggle.
We are just trying and praying, because even people working are complaining. Likewise, people that are not working. The things are so hard. Everything is expensive. It's not easy. Even for you to give a little child going to school 1,000 naira now, it's nothing to buy. So it's very, very somehow difficult. Let me see.
It's the best we have ever seen in the history of Nigeria. We know there is hardship outside, we know. But we know that the reform that he is doing, at least in the next 8 years, we are going to be seeing the outcome of the reform. At least there is no student loan before, there is student loan now. We know what he did about this local government issue. We know what he's doing. They have been clamoring about local government independence since. Now, it has come to a success now.
You never do enough. You understand? Things are hard. Especially we pensioners, we are suffering. Pensioners, we are suffering. Our pensions have been hanging. Most of us have not been paid for some months now. So you need to do something about retirees, civil servants that have retired. Most of us are taking peanuts. Peanuts, 25,000, 15,000. Somebody who has served the nation for 35 years, you are giving him 15,000, 25,000, 30,000. It's not good. You should do something so that all this, most of our colleagues are dying. Some are on sick bed now. Nothing to write home about it.
So what's the real state of the economy 2 years on? Has it improved or worsened? And what should we expect going forward? Well, joining me today to unpack all of this is economist Akin Ogunshola. Thank you for joining me on the program, Mr. Ogunshola. Now, let's begin with your general assessment of the Nigerian economy under President Tinubu's administration. It's been 2 years since President Tinubu was sworn in as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. How would you assess the overall state of Nigeria's economy today?
Yeah, Nigeria's economy, actually came out from a very low state, and now it's like we're on the path of recovery. The economy is trying to recover from, the, kind of policies that the economy has already faced in the last administration. But notwithstanding, the economy has not performed to the expectation of many Nigerians. But we can still say that we are on the path of recovery, and the economy is now being jump-started by this administration.
All right, so most times what we hear is Tinubu inherited so many challenges from the previous administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. That's why the economy is in the state that it is at the moment. So what would you say are the major economic challenges President Bola Tinubu inherited, and how have they evolved over the past 2 years to the state we are at the moment in the country?
All right. In the last administration, the President Bola Tinubu, inherited a lot of debt from the last administration. He also inherited a very fragile economy under the subsidy regime from President Muhammadu Buhari. He also inherited an economy that the exchange rate was being, subsidized, and the rate of exchange of the naira was not actually showing the true value of the currency. He also inherited an economy where government revenue was, it went to the lowest, ever in the history of Nigeria. Talking about the revenue from oil and also from non-oil. So he inherited revenue problems, he inherited debt, he inherited, an economy that was not performing. But now, the economy has, come up a little. Recently, we saw that the government, settled off the debt with the World Bank, and that's something that's not happened in a very, very long time. Secondly, we have also seen the revenue of government increased. In May 2023, the FAC, committee shared about 786 billion naira. But in 2025, just by April 2025, last month, we saw FAC sharing about 1.68 trillion. So we've seen, revenue increased at the federal level, at the state level, and also at the local government level. We've also seen a pickup, in foreign direct investment into the country. Since when President Tinubu came in, we saw foreign direct investment increase to the tune of about about $200 billion into the economy. But however, it is not uhuru because there are some other policies that made our economy to go back. In 2023, the exchange rate, the naira to the dollar, was about 460 naira to a dollar. But as we speak, it is 1,590 naira or 95 naira to a dollar. Also, when we look at the interest rate as of 2023 was about 18.5%, by the Monetary Policy Committee as of May 2023. But now, in May 2025, the interest rate is about 27%. We also measure performance of the economy in terms of inflation, in that economy. Inflation as at May 2023 was 22.2%. But as at May 2025, as at April 2025, inflation rate, despite being rebased in January, is about 23.7%, and it's still going high. Fuel price, as of 2023 May, was around 127 naira thereabout. And in 2025, the price of fuel is 910 naira. So it's not Uhuru yet. We are still having some challenges, despite that the government is, trying to, bring back the economy from a very poor state. Now that we are having a revenue increase, we expect to see government, performing so well. But we've also seen budget of government also shoot up drastically. In May 2023, as the budget of 2023 was just around about, 20 trillion. But when President Muhammadu Buhari came in, President Tinubu came in, the budget of the nation has increased. In 2025 now, the budget is about 50 something trillion naira, which is unprecedented, very, very high. So the government is planning to spend a lot of money into the economy. And we've seen also that, budget overlapping. 2024 budget is still running, 2025 budget is also running. And yet the economy has not really felt the impact of this high spending, because when the government spend high, we're supposed to see a lot of money in circulation. And because of this money in circulation, where they share, because FAC allocation has increased, it has also affected the price of the exchange rate, the price of the naira in the international market. So these are the challenges, but the government is performing. We are still waiting, maybe in the second half of the tenure of the president, where we will see the tax reforms bill signed into law. Possibly we will now see revenue also increasing. We'll see our tax to GDP ratio also go up. We'll also see that foreign investors also come into the country, thereby helping the country to be, have a lot of fun. But notwithstanding, because of what President Trump is also doing in the Europe and the Middle East, we are also monitoring the price of fuel and the price of crude oil. The price of crude oil as of 2023 was around $60 per barrel. But in 2025, we're talking about $70 per barrel. But the production, when you look at the production of oil too, in 2023 compared to 2025, we've seen that there's an increase in the production of oil as well, which is also unprecedented. So the government is trying. So if we're going to score this administration based on the 2 years that they have already spent, or for the first time, we can be saying is about 50 to 60% performance. But there is a very large room for improvement if it's not impeded by politics, because we are going into the season of politicking.
All right, like you mentioned, the 2025 budget is unprecedented at 54.99 trillion naira. Now, let's talk about inflation. It's currently at 23.71%, but it has remained a major concern, even though it has eased since the beginning of 2025. But food inflation is still something that many Nigerians have been battling with. Now, would you say the government's efforts to curb inflation so far has been effective?
Not for the rebasing, to say the honest truth. The rebasing actually helped us bringing more items, into the basket, so that we can now use it to analyze the inflation. That's what actually helped us. Talking about the food inflation particularly, it has been going up. I think it is up to about 40% before we now did the rebasing. They added some other food materials. The insecurity that is happening in the Plateau and in Benue, and the insecurity in the Northwest is also affecting the price of food in the nation. So governments have not been able to tackle food inflation effectively. We are now in another rainy season, in a farming season. And we see a lot of insecurity here and there. We saw what's happening in Plateau and in Benue. We are already afraid that food inflation might not be able to be controlled, because what can help us to control food inflation is security. If people can be able to go to farm, to go and farm in their place, in their land, so that we can have bumper harvest and government can fill up the storage for scarcity in case, so that they can help to control the price of food. But we've not seen that actually happening. And another factor that shoots food price in the country just like as I've always said, is the price of diesel, because food items are being transported on diesel from the north to the south. So if we cannot still do something to the price of diesel, thank God for Dangote refineries. Price of diesel now is about 1,100 and 50 naira or thereabout. So that has helped. But if the price of diesel can further come down, we will also see food inflation dropping, apart from the crisis of farmers in the farm. So those are the two areas that the president actually needs to look into: agric, and also security, and also the price of diesel.
All right, let's now talk about the average Nigerian. How would you describe the impact of this administration's policies on citizens' purchasing power and the cost of living?
If I'm to say the truth here, citizens are not happy
At all.
because the price, the value of the naira is making them not to be able to purchase a lot of things. We've seen, yes, the administration approved minimum wage in 2024. Minimum wage has increased from 30,000 to 70,000, but they are yet to implement. They are yet to start paying. Just only some states that have implemented minimum wage, but some other states have not implemented. Even the federal government, they are still battling with trying to pay the backlog of minimum wage. I saw that on the pages of the newspaper. So because this minimum wage has not been fully paid, citizens are just trying to manage to survive. So if government can pay the backlog of minimum wage, and apart from that, if the value of the naira can get stronger so that the little that they are earning can actually cater for their needs, then the citizens can smile. But as we speak, for these first 2 years, you see a lot of protests. We've seen protests. We've seen warning strikes by the labor unions. Salary is not enough. So these are the challenges that citizens are facing.
All right, so one of the core things that President Tinubu has emphasized during the course of his administration so far is job creation and also attracting foreign investments into the country. So with the situation of things in the country at the moment, would you say we've seen any tangible progress in these areas, that job creation and attracting foreign investments into the country, bearing in mind that in 2024 we saw so many companies leaving the country?
Yeah, high cost of doing business affected businesses, especially in the area of power. Many of the multinationals that left the country left because the cost of power is becoming unbearable when they remove subsidy for those on Band A, that they are to pay, higher rates. And despite paying the higher rates, they are not still getting up to 20 hours of power that they are supposed to get. So that, made the cost of doing business to actually, go up. So many of them are looking for alternative. Then multiplicity of taxes that the president mentioned when he came into power in May 2023, that he's going to do something to reduce multiplicity of taxes. Yes, 2 years now down the line, consultations, negotiations, and all that. Thank God the National Assembly has now passed the tax reforms bill. So possibly with the implementation and the signing of that the bill into law, possibly it will help to phase out multiplicity of taxes, and foreign investors will further come into the country. So high cost of doing business need to go down. Multiple taxes at various levels, the federal level, the state level, the local government level, needs to be taken away. Thank God for this tax reforms bill. So if that can be implemented, we are going to see a change in the second half.
All right, so recently the chairman of Zakadediji announced a 30 trillion naira revenue target by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, would you say that it is possible? That's number one. And also, would you also say that there's been any noticeable improvement in revenue generation and fiscal discipline under this present administration?
Yeah, I think 30 trillion revenue for non-oil revenue, I think is actually very big, but I doubt the possibility, even with the new tax reforms bill. Okay, let's start from like the last year, 2024, the target that FIRS met was, I think around close to about 15 trillion that was met. So he now is doubling the target to 30 trillion. Now, with the implementation of the tax reforms bill, possibly maybe he was looking at increasing the VAT then. VAT is no longer going to be increased, because if VAT is not increased, and also they're also increasing the threshold for SMEs to 50 million, and also for personal income tax, the threshold is increasing to 1.2 million. I don't know how 30 trillion, naira is going to be achieved by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. I actually doubt it, but it's actually possible because there are so many leakages, in our tax administration system in Nigeria. So if those leakages can be blocked, it is possible. But with the way the system is now, I doubt if the chairman can achieve a 30 trillion naira non-oil revenue in 2025.
All right, so far the government has made efforts to increase diaspora remittances. Now, would you say this effort have translated into any meaningful economic gains for Nigeria?
Yeah, the diaspora remittances has actually helped us. We have gained a lot. In fact, it has gotten to its highest, in history. I think over $500 billion has come in from diaspora remittances. Nigeria is doing well, possibly because of the jackpot syndrome that actually happened in the last 2 years as well. Many Nigerians are now out there out of the country, and they are trying to send money back home, possibly for their own investment or for upkeep of their family members. So that has helped, the remittances, and it has increased that's part of what is making our foreign reserve to actually also go up. And the government is actually performing well when it comes to the foreign reserve. It has increased about $40 billion, I think over $40 billion, which is good. They met it at about $30 billion. And now it has grown to about $40 billion. The government is doing well in that aspect as well.
We spent 2 years so far, and the next 2 years is a lot of time. If you ask me, anything can change at any point in time. But then, looking ahead, what do you think should be the key economic priorities for Tinubu's administration as he enters the second phase, the second half of its term in office?
Yeah, looking into the second half of his term in office, the administration should look at how to, tackle food inflation, which is very key. They have been trying to tackle food inflation. We still need to tackle it. If we continue to import food into the country, it doesn't speak well, because we have vast land that is arable, but insecurity is making us not to be able to cultivate this land. So if you can do something on food inflation, and if you can further ensure that the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar further comes down. The target is that he needs to get it to below 1,000 naira before he leaves office, before the end of the first term, that's 2027. He needs to ensure that the exchange rate goes to at least maybe 1,000 naira. Then we can feel an ease, into what the government is doing economically. Then talking about the tax reforms bill is also a very good game changer for this administration. Once it is signed into law, it will further increase revenue of the federal government in the second half of its tenure, and that will also bring about more development. We've seen several projects done, road projects, road construction, hospitals. Maybe they are trying to do something on power. Power is also critical. You need to look at the power sector in the next second half of the year, so that once power improves, we'll also see economic activities also going on. And then the ease of doing business also in the country. We should be able to do it that for you to register a company, you should be able to do it within 24 hours. A company should be registered, via the internet. That will also make the ease of doing business also become much more easier. So these are the areas they need to look at. The price of petrol is still very high. If it can further, come down, we look at the price of crude oil based on what President Trump is also doing in the, Ukraine-Russia crisis and also in the Middle East. If peace can, return to those regions, we'll see the price of crude oil coming down, and it will affect us positively and negatively. But thank God for the tax reforms bill, which is the game changer. We are not relying on price of crude oil absolutely for revenue. So if that can happen, if government can synchronize all that, we will see a better economy in the second half of his term.
Well, hopefully we see a better economy in the second half of President Tinubu's administration. Economist Mr. Akin Ogunshola, many thanks for lending your insight with us today. As we mark 2 years of President Bola Tinubu's administration, it is clear that while some bold reforms have been introduced, the road to economic stability remains complex. From inflation and debt to investment and the cost of living, Nigerians continue to navigate the realities of these policies every day. The big question now is, can the next 2 years bring the relief and growth that citizens are hoping for? Only time and intentional policy direction will tell. And that's it on this episode of Money Matters. I'm Okpeyemi Obosheni. See you next time.